send those guys out there, those are the guys the unit trusts to get the job done for everybody.
Julian Armella's confidence too much or just right?
Nah, Julian's fine. Like, it's crazy because perception is not who Julian is. Julian is a work hard. I mean, he'll call me at 11:30 p.m. talk about he want to get on Zoom and watch film. Like, he is a work hard. I think the confidence comes because of the work he puts in.
The running backs in that entire segment you guys have now. What does Trey add something different that you guys haven't had in years past? Or is it compared to somebody that's been in there?
I mean, what I like about Trey is that leadership and ownership he's taking in the room. You know, what I'd say is like we talk about the offensive line, players coaching players. If you watch our practice, I promise you, Trey will be standing behind the young running backs and they're coaching them just like he was Coach Johnson. And he takes it serious and tries to push the group.
You guys have like all the tools you want as an offensive player. Do you have the different kinds of running backs, different kinds of receivers? And you guys feel you have the full allotment to run the offense as well?
What I love about watching, what Coach Norvell offense is we use the tools that we have. They are the offense. You know, we're gonna put the best players in the best situations to make plays. So we got the players. We just got to make sure we have the skill.
What are you hoping to see?
Quarterback too. I mean, how much does Jordan lead this offense help make that happen?
Same progression that you talked about with the young O-line, young running back. Same with Jordan. Jordan was a young guy out there with a whole new coaching staff, whole new system. So his comfort level has just shown strides, as it should. He went through the normal process of a developing quarterback. He kind of struggled early where they said he couldn't do. Now he can. And now he's the leader. Now he's out there checking the plays and changing the script. I mean, it becomes a Jordan Travis offense because it's built to fit playmakers. He's definitely a playmaker.
Following up on that, just how important and valuable is it for him to go into a fall and know those 1 reps are always going to be his?
I mean, I think it does come with value. You know, I don't think Jordan would ever say that. I think having an understanding that you're the guy and we're going to build this with you, I think that does breed confidence. And also breeds confidence with the guys around him because the relationship he built with them, they want to see that in him. They've been pushing for him, so I think that's awesome.
Are the conditions kind of set up for Robert Scott to have a special season?
Yeah, that's up to Rob. It's up to Robert. You know, Robert, what I liked about it is he had to get thrown in there early. So he got a lot of attention and a lot of, early reps, so his experience is high. But Rob got to put it all together too, So interesting to see how he does through this camp. I'm excited for him because he's a good player, but let's see if he takes that next step.
What are the stamps that you want to put on this offense as the offensive coordinator?
All right, well, just consistency. And it's not really like, I'm coming in and changing, this big difference or anything like that. It's just more, I want to make sure we put our players in a position to succeed and make sure they trust each other and get to play for each other. That's more than anything.
Thomas, another year removed from his injury, do you think he's that much closer to being a
Thomas will be ready to go. He'll be ready to go. He's confident. He's the, if I didn't say that, he'd probably come in this door throwing stuff at me. So yeah, Thomas will be ready to go.
Coach mentioned that you can be comfortable with 9 or 10 offensive linemen potentially this year. Just kind of reflecting on last year a little bit, how important was it to get those guys that you have got in the transfer portal and make sure you're able to shore up the offensive line if things don't, if someone gets hurt, you get unlucky, whatever.
The portal was a value of adding age to inexperience. So, for example, Dylan Gilman comes in. He's seen success at a high level of the O-line unit. He's seen guys get drafted. Caden Lyles was at Wisconsin. So the guys come in and they're teaching those young guys like, hey, they're giving them a different perspective because the guys that were here only know what they know. Coaches, we get to go clinic, we get to go coach at different places, so we've seen a lot of experience. They only seen the one that's presented here, so I tried to give them more answers to the questions in the room and not just coming from a coach.
Having that many guys who you think you can count on in a game setting up front, how does that change how you can use them in practice?
Well, yeah, that'd be the telltale sign. I think, everything on paper right now. When we go through these practices, we'll see who actually can go in there and perform in the game. But I think it is a value if you got the bodies at least.
How much did that impact you guys last year, having injuries kind of mount on the offensive line and either guys having to play injured or not being able to have guys available at the end of the season? Did that take its toll?
Yeah, man, build some toughness. What happens is in coaching, it makes you uncomfortable. Like we talked about the players being uncomfortable. I had to make sure I'm developing my young guys properly and making sure I got enough guys that can go in there and operate. So it's a challenge on both sides. So I got to make sure that whoever's out there can at least go operate and function.
With Jordan and his weight, I know he talked a little bit about how he was lighter last season at times. Now I believe, seen him around 212. Just what's the philosophy with protecting him this season, kind of looking back at what he's done these last 2 years? What do you think your staff can do to make sure he stays on the field?
Well, number one is we got to make sure we put in positions where he knows what to do and know how to protect himself. And also we can put better people in front of him that hold blocks longer. I think that'll be the biggest thing.
What worked well about the run game last year? What was the strength of it? I guess what's the next step in kind of expanding it this year?
It's just from receivers blocking downfield, from the O-linemen understanding concepts and being able to get the adjustments, and the running backs running hard. The run game is a true full offensive, and then Jordan checking us in the right schemes and making sure we can see where we need to go. So run game works. I mean, I wish I can say, oh, this because of this. It's a total, to get that thing going, everybody got to be blocking.
Fabian talked about how hard he goes in practice, or is going to go in practice, to kind of task those guys, make sure they're ready for Saturday. How much going against that, especially those established interior guys, prepare them for what they're going to be facing?
That's why I love being around Coach Odell. That's experience for me because, Coach Odell jokes all the time, but he started as an O-line guy. So, he knows both sides of it. So, he knows what to attack, how to attack, and that grows me as a coach too. And, he's been there for a long time and had elite talent at that position for a long time. So that's just everyday competition helps us get a lot better.
You mentioned the confidence that Jordan has from being the guy. What about you as offensive coordinator, knowing you've seen Jordan go through it now at that point? What does that do for you in terms of being able to scheme, being able to plan with him in mind?
Not even scheme or plan, it's just more reality of you've been through it. You've seen it all. Now it's not much more you can see. Some of these experiences they had, they're their first time having it. And like all of us, when you first see it, all right, that's what that feels like. That's what I was supposed to do. Now let me go correct that. Let me not get this feeling again. So we're confident in the fact that they've seen it all, done it all. Now, of course, new stuff come out. That's why we love football. But he's had enough experiences where now he can go showcase himself and be comfortable in any adversity that comes up.
Is this settling on the field? Do you have an idea in your mind if everything works out right, what your starting five is going to be that you think will be the strongest once the season really starts getting right?
Not five yet. We'll see some punches. I'll give you a better deal after we get through that first scrimmage.
Just in terms of numbers of guys you have on the offensive line, is this the biggest group or one of the biggest groups you've had during your coaching career?
Not the biggest, but since I've been here, of course.
And what does that do for you guys? I guess weekly practice. How does that impact?
Just more competition, but also an opportunity to connect with different personalities, different backgrounds. So I think that's what I love about O-line unit. It challenges you to be able to connect with people that you've never met, different, everything. So it just builds their connection with each other to get to learn about different people that they didn't know before. So yes, on the field, more people, more competition. That's kind of the general deal, but an opportunity to expand the unit, just beyond ball, I think it's been fun.